Hi, this 6 Caillou challenge is called Unique in Order. Implement the function unique in order, which takes as argument a sequence and returns a list of items without any elements with the same value next to each other, and preserving the original order of elements. See the examples below. Note we start with 4 A's, but it just goes to 1 A. Same with the B's, 3 of those get condensed to 1 B. The extra C is omitted, D's fine, an extra A and some extra B's. Example 2 shows that this is case sensitive, so the lowercase c is passed. It isn't counted as a duplicate of uppercase C. And then because this is a generic enumerable, it doesn't even have to be done with characters, right? You could have an array of numbers passed in. So that's sort of where this is more complicated. We're used to working with the strings, and you could probably crank this challenge out without thinking much about it if you're guaranteed to have a string, and this is just sort of the twist on it. Now you have enumerable of any type. So go ahead and think about it, consult your documentation as necessary, give it an honest attempt, and come on back. So for my strategy, I'm going to basically set up a couple local variables. One I'll call a target. It's going to start at the initial value, and then it just helps me note as I iterate through the collection if the previous value is equal to the target. If it is, I'm not going to add it. I'm going to make this list for my result. That's what I'm going to return, and then as we iterate over this iterable sequence, I'll just add the values that should get added to result, and then I'll return that. And then I said I'm going to have this target value, and I'm going to use the default keyword to just give me the default value for whatever t is. It could be an int, it could be a char. If it's an int, default should be 0, but that's just sort of what I'm initializing the value with. I'm just trying to make it blank to start. As soon as we go to the first character, or I should say first value, I gotta think generically here. As soon as we go to the first value, we'll set that value appropriately. So the idea then is, now that I've got my local variables, I can say for each t, let's call it val in iterable. And there'll be 2 cases where I want to pass values into my result collection. The first will happen with the very first letter, right? By definition, there's no previous letter, and so there's no repeat for the first letter. It should get added. The second case will be is when target's been established, you're going along, possibly hitting duplicates of that value, maybe not, but then when you get to a value that doesn't match the target, the first time that happens, right, then you need to update the target, and that first value will in fact be added to result. So that's the idea there. Okay, now how to do that. You may have run into trouble if you were trying to cast these into chars and ints, and you can't really do that because they're generic and you can't count on it being one or the other. So what we're going to use is this equality comparer class, and we'll take advantage of char and int having their own sort of comparison methods, equals methods already implemented, that they know how to handle those by default, how to compare integers against integers. They're built-in types, right? But when you make your custom types, you have to define these methods, and we've done that in other challenges where you have to do things if you want to sort of take advantage of this equality behavior. So good. Feel free to read more about this. You might want to go to iEquality comparer, but you know, there are some good examples here. They talk about boxes, and they define boxes as being the same if they have the same dimensions, and it's kind of cool, but you can change it, you know. So that's what I'm going to use. You'll notice equality comparer has this default, which I'm going to use. It's just the default equality comparer for the type specified by the generic argument. And then I can use its equals method to check these two generic types. See, equals t and t. Now you can't say t double equals t like you can with, you know, integers and other values. So that's why I'm using this, in case that wasn't clear. So let's get those two cases covered. If equality comparer, and I'm going to use the default, equals, and then our two cases, we want to see if the target is equal to the default value, meaning it's blank right now. So let's say target and default t. It's like it's blank, right? We want to automatically pass that first value. And then the more general case is, copy this bit again, when the target value does not equal val, right? So let me put the exclamation mark to negate that. So not equals, when target is not equal to val. That's like going from A to B, right? We want that case too. And so these are the two cases where we want to pass the value. What we'll have to do then is update our target, right? Once we get to B, we got to say, hey, the target's now B. Don't be looking for A's anymore. And then, of course, our results, we need to add that val. And then finally, once you've gone over the whole collection, should be as simple as returning your result. Let's get rid of that boilerplate there. Okay. Yeah, I'll give this a run. Good, hit the attempt. And we are clear for takeoff. So yeah, not too bad, but it was definitely tricky. If you weren't familiar with this, like I said, you may have been trying to use, you know, t equals to t and getting errors that were weird and kind of banging your head, but hopefully not. So I think I'll submit mine like this. Yeah. And then you know what to do. Take a look around, get your points, hit me up if you need any help, and otherwise I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching.